Hello, and welcome everyone to my channel to another drawing time lapse. I haven't done a drawing time lapse here on the channel in a long time, so I'm very excited to be back showing you guys the process behind this piece that I'm very happy with. So basically, I was walking my dog a couple of weeks ago in this neighborhood, and I saw this frame, this picture frame filled with succulents on the side of the road, and I thought it was awesome, but I didn't really think much of it. And then a few days later, I saw it again on our walks, decided to take a picture, and thought that it could be a good setting for some sort of illustration. And as I'm walking with my dog, I'm trying to pay more attention to my surroundings, to things that could maybe spark some sort of inspiration or some sort of idea. Even if it's something very, very abstract, I still want to just save it for later. And it's definitely a new habit that I'm trying to cultivate, but still feels very foreign to me. And I got this, where did I even get this inspiration? I think it was a course from Domestika that I started watching. If you don't know Domestika, this is not sponsored, but it's basically this platform with tons of amazing courses. All the courses are very project based, and I have the subscription to it, so I can just watch a ton of courses in my free time. So usually I just watch a few classes here and there. And one of the classes was on sketchbooks, and the instructor was was explaining how all of his art is very personal to him and related to his personal life. And as I'm walking my dog and kind of reflecting back on this, I started paying more attention to my surroundings. So once I came back home, just looked at the picture for a little bit and thought that it could be cool to think of this illustration as kind of an editorial, high fashion illustration kind of thing, kind of what you might see on a cover of Vogue, or if this was some sort of makeup advertisement. I don't know. I've been trying to let my ideas run wild and just act on them and not assign value to them out of the bat. So I went back, cleaned up the sketch. The idea is that this girl is just kind of holding a portrait, like she's framing herself within all these succulents around her. I got a little mood board working on my side here as I'm illustrating and adding everything. I did some brush testing a couple of weeks ago because I got tired of the usual setup that I was using on Procreate. So I've been trying to embrace the imperfection in my own art. I'm a very impatient and non-perfectionist. And I've tried throughout all of last year to really work more on details and take my sweet time. And I really don't like it. I love the result from a very well illustrated and well thought out piece, but the process itself, I don't enjoy it as much as I do from faster and messier paintings. And so I decided to go back to use Max Ulichinei's gouache pack, his retro Max pack, and I love it because it's very imperfect in and of itself. Like the brush itself gives a texture that forces me to embrace the messiness of digital art. And digital art itself is so hard for you to get kind of that effect because you can just do everything. You can make the most perfect illustrations ever. So using brushes to give me a bit more of texture and that kind of thing has been super helpful. But as you can see, I have been doing a bit more of outline, which I kind of stopped doing last year. But from this test, and I uploaded a short here on YouTube about it, I really liked the effect of the gouache pack with the black outlines. I'm still gonna be testing some stuff out. After I finish this piece, I realized that there are several possibilities with illustration that I can still and will still explore. But I need to kind of work fast because I don't have as much time to draw as I used to. Currently, I'm training for a half marathon, so that means that I'm running 4 times a week. I'm going to the office once a week. I have a lot more of friend-related commitments nowadays, and I'm trying to focus my time on my weekends to spend with friends and family. So not so much time spending drawing, especially because for me, drawing is a hobby. It's not my main job. So I have now other hobbies, like I'm doing gymnastics, I'm going to yoga, I'm creating earrings with polymer clay. And so there's like this balance. And art now, if I think of my life in terms of a pizza, the slice for art is becoming increasingly smaller. So I need to work faster to be able to create all of the artwork that I do want to create. So you see that the painting itself is super messy because this is the beauty of these brushes. And I was super inspired by the color palette of that first picture that I have on the top over there on the left. I actually imported that palette onto Procreate so I can just use those colors and have this very cohesive, cool with a bit of like reddish tones underneath it. And I've been just using Max, his brushes to color the whole thing and avoiding working too much on the piece. Like I'm just kind of embracing the messiness, as I mentioned. And to be honest, I don't really know how to render very well. Like I really don't. I first did this like very basic painting of the succulents, just kind of distributing colors. To be honest, I just did it once and I didn't even go back to reevaluate whether the balance of my tones was right or not. And looking back, like I realized that I placed the little pinkish succulents like on the top and there is no more pink anywhere else in the painting. So the balance itself was a little lacking. I admit that I was working in very short intervals on this piece, and usually if I work longer, I kind of go back and take time to assess my progress. So I definitely like slacked off on that aspect of the illustration. I wasn't really going back and being very, I wasn't evaluating my choices very well. The other thing that I now realize looking back, this is gonna be one of those things that once I tell you, you're not gonna be able to like ignore it, is her eyebrow. Her left eyebrow, or the one farthest from the viewer, is way too far from the other one. Like there is a massive imbalance between that eyebrow. I think the whole face, to be honest, is a little imbalanced. I don't usually do faces that are tilted down. I know it's just like a face that is tilted, not tilted, just straight. Something about this angle was tripping me. And the end of the day, it's fine because the whole style is a little messy. So I don't really care that the anatomy isn't perfect or isn't there. Like things are a little twisted. It's okay. Like the lines are definitely not, they're not, yeah, the elements on the face are not super aligned. But the overall effect in the end was very nice. And I like that. I had the idea of putting like this beam of light, kind of like one of the reference pictures that I have there, one of the reference portraits. So I add that in the end after I finish adding all the details around my succulents. I tried to balance it out a little bit between the ones that had more detail versus the one that had less detail, making the ones closer to her face a little smaller than the ones that are like around the corners, which are much bigger, and then also having that contrast between the colors. But overall, the piece was just something fun based on one of the things that I saw in my walks, so like an actual object. And at the end of the day, I'm just kind of trying to work on my art and differentiate my work a little bit more. And I love the result, even with all of its imperfections. I think it's lovely and I'm super happy with how it came out.